According to a report from Josina Anderson, the Dolphins are weighing all options at quarterback, which means they could move on from Tua Tagovailoa. Skip, let's start with you. Do you believe the Dolphins would actually replace Tua this offseason?
I do, Shannon Sharp. As you know, going into Tua's draft, I never quite believed in him, and I don't believe in him even more now.
Okay.
He reportedly had 5 different surgeries while he was at Alabama. I just don't think you can trust his health, starting with his head going forward. And I never loved his arm talent or even his athletic ability, his ability to scramble and move around. They worked wonders with him last year, but again, Josina's report is they're still in the market for a quarterback, and I buy that and I believe that. I think Tua's a great young man. I think he's a good leader. I just don't know if he's going to be able to sustain the beating that he will continue to take at quarterback. So that brings us to a report that I heard from Rich Eisen, who said, I believe it was yesterday, that in his time at the Combine, the number one rumor that he heard was that Tom Brady is not finished playing yet and that his target would be the Dolphins. If, in fact, he's going to unretire for a second time, that he would want to play for the Dolphins. Well, obviously, a year ago, both he and Sean Payton were sort of a package deal, and the Dolphins got busted for tampering with both Brady and Sean Payton, and it cost them hugely because cost him a first-round pick in this draft, a third-round pick in next year's draft, and for what it's worth, Stephen Ross, the owner, got suspended and fined $1.5 million. Well, remember, Stephen Ross is a Michigan man, a Michigan alum. Tom Brady obviously went to Michigan. So
is Rich Eisen.
And there's bingo. Thank you for that. That's a very good point. That would make the dots even more connected. So is it possible that Stephen Ross is going to have a conversation with Tom Brady about his desire to continue to play football, maybe for the Dolphins? Well, sure. I'm sure they'll have the conversations throughout the offseason. So could I see that happening? Yeah. If Tom still wants to play and he wants to take the public criticism that he would take for unretiring again, because it would come across as maybe an even weaker move than the first time, right. I wouldn't surprise me a bit if he played for Stephen Ross as the next quarterback for the Miami Dolphins.
Skip, look, normally smart people, really smart people, but it doesn't happen always. Normally when you quit your job, you have another job lined up.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're going to move on from Tua, are you certain that you can get Tom Brady? Are you certain you can get a quarterback that's an upgrade over Tua? And if you can, Skip, I think you owe it to the Dolphins. I think you owe it to your organization. You owe it to put the best players on the field at a given time.
Yep.
So if you can upgrade that position, well, you upgrade the position, Skip, because that's what it's about. But if you don't get Tom Brady, are we sure Tom Brady's an upgrade given the offensive line?
I don't know.
Well,
good question. Fair question.
Yep. So that's Skip, that's what I'm looking at. You're right. Tua limped into the NFL.
He did.
Skip, what he have? He had a major hip injury coming into the league. It seems to me he's gonna limp out. Skip, they talk about he's training with a martial art to learn how to fall.
Yeah.
Man, you learn how to fall as a kid. If you hadn't learned it, if you a grown ass man and you don't know how to fall now, can't nobody teach you how to fall?
No.
You supposed to learn how to fall when you was a child on the playground, in the sandbox.
Yeah.
So now here you are, 25, 26 years old, and somebody got to teach you how to fall? Nah. I think you can learn a lot of things, but learning how to fall, Skip, I think that's just in you. You just learned that from playing. And you like to think, Skip, here's a man that's been playing football his whole damn life, and he don't know how to fall?
Okay.
Skip, I agree with you, man. Tom would take some type of criticism for coming back after,
he would.
Especially after this time. After this time, he said it was for real. And, hey, he's had a great run, blah, blah, blah. But, hey, at the end of the day, damn that criticism. Bruh, if it's in your heart to come back, come on back. But I tell you what, we're going to take our money back, and we're going to divvy it up between other people at Fox. We're going to take all that money back that they promised.
Okay.
And we're going to divvy it up, Skip.
Well, obviously, he has a great job waiting for him, and he said he needs 1 year before he starts the job here at Fox. But that opens a door for, well, he did say it's still a year away. Does that mean he wants to play one more year? hey, that guy, when he chooses to do something, he usually just does it.
I think that's the thing where people started to realize, Skip, that he says, okay, he needed another year.
Yep.
Was that to try to go scratch that itch of
Maybe.
playing in the NFL one more time?
Yep, could be.
I think Greg Olsen is very happy that if he does that.
Time will tell, guys. Shannon, let me know if you hear that Fox needs my direct deposit information again. I'll get it to them ASAP.
I sure will.
All right, guys, this was a very interesting move by the NBA. Do you think they made the right decision taking away Giannis's triple-double? Let's discuss in just a moment. To Michael Silver, the Packers have become, quote, exhausted with Aaron Rodgers when it comes to dealing with him. They may move on from the quarterback this offseason. According to the report, the days of Packers execs begging Rodgers to return are over. All right, Shannon, will Aaron Rodgers soon be a former Packer?
Read that first part, what you said. You say they have become what? That first part, read that first part, what you said over again.
Exhausted. Exhausted.
Become?
They will no
Y'all
longer
become
beg.
that? Skip, you mean to tell me y'all just getting to this point? After 5, 6, 7, 8 years of his indecisiveness, after him giving you his butt to care, I don't know, I think I'm going to go on a retreat, I'm going to drink some scotch, now I'm on tequila, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, this is what you should have done. You should have been put your foot down. He's the type of guy, the more you give, the more he'll take. And you've given, and he's taken, and he hasn't reciprocated that. Oh, who wouldn't want a Super Bowl winning quarterback? Well, when the last time he won one? He's been underachieving the last 3 years. We know that for certain.
Yep.
He had home field, and all this indecisiveness is to try to do the misdirection. But Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp hold his feet to the fire. You can't fool us because all I do is keep my eye right here. I understand that you went on that retreat, but tell us about that game you lost to the Packers. I understand that you went to another and started hallucinating and you lost 25 pounds. But tell us about that, what happened against Jimmy Garoppolo and the 49ers.
Yep.
And I also know all this, well, I'm going to take some time, this and that. And there's a conspiracy theory, they're going to release the list of Epstein. They're going to release that list. Mm-hmm. Tell us about that list, the plays that you didn't make in the Detroit Lions game when you were at home, and if you win, you make the playoffs. Tell us about that list.
Good point.
All you do is talk about all that auxiliary and ancillary stuff. Let's talk about football. Keep it on the field. You got 2 MVPs in the last 3 years. And what does the Packer organization and the Packer Nation have to show for it? Disappointment.
Yep.
Because I guarantee you they are greatly disappointed with what transpired. Because when the rubber needed to meet the road, when all the chips was shoved to the middle of the table, you folded. You laid your hand down. So all this other stuff, you should have been tired, eBay. He been giving you his butt to kiss for the last 4 years at least. But y'all bet Aaron, we really love you. Hey, we're sorry for taking that. We're sorry for taking Jordan Love, even though we like to do things what we think is the best interest of the team. We should have consulted you. You should have consulted nothing. Aaron Rodgers don't pay one bill for the Packers organization. He don't pay one salary. Consulted for what? Because you see what he did. Aaron Rodgers need to move on. The Green Bay Packers need to move on. Both participants in this, he needs a change of scenery. They need a new quarterback to have a change of scenery also, Skip. This thing is so done. Stop going back and forth. Gutekunst saying this. We hadn't had conversations. We've had text. Well, since you hadn't had conversations, just text him. Aaron, we're moving on in a different direction.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay. I hear everything you just said. Pretty much what I've been saying since you and I started on this show back in 2016. Heck, since I was on the other network going back 5 years before that. Blame deflecting, finger pointing diva is Aaron Rodgers. Playoff choker since the Super Bowl is Aaron Rodgers. Underachiever, if you want to be nice about it, in the postseason. Now, we have seen repeated reports that the Packers have had enough. even the ultimate insider of the Packers, Bob McGinn, the week we were off a couple of weeks back, he reported that they are completely done with him, with Aaron Rodgers, and McGinn's been covering that team for 40 years. So I hear it, I see it, I feel it. Now it's time for Green Bay to have the guts to move on. Obviously, Aaron has to be in lockstep with this decision because they made the mistake. Again, a year ago, they gave him a 3-year deal at $50 million a year. So they got 2 more years on this deal at $50 million that they owe him. So it's almost like a Westbrookian type situation where